Warriors, NRL fanatics, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and this is going to be my NRL Round 23 tips. So yeah, let's get into it. So starting off with the first game to kickstart the round, it sees the South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on the Penrith Panthers on Thursday the 18th of August. It kicks off at 7:50pm Australian time, 9:50pm New Zealand time. The Rabbitohs go into this game sitting in 5th spot on the ladder. As for the Panthers, they come into this game sitting in 1st as the favourites to take the minor premiership. Now, the betting prices do have the Rabbitohs $1.71 and the Panthers are paying $2.15 at Sportsbet. Now, look, this is a very hard game to tip, is it? It's one of the difficult tips to start the round. Now, looking back at last week's games and the results, the Rabbitohs did get a dominant victory of 26 points to nil over the Parramatta Eels down there at Combank Stadium in Western Sydney. It was, just a classy performance by the Rabbitohs, and you got the likes of Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, Alex Johnston, Cameron Murray's. They all played well. They all starred in that performance, and they've all been playing good footy over the last couple of months now, actually, the Rabbitohs. And despite that, their only slip up was against Cronulla, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, where they lost in Golden Point. But since then, Rabbitohs, they've just been very consistent, and their performances have just been on another level for me. And the Rabbitohs, if you look at last season, you just can't count them out, can you? Because they did make the grand final last year, and yes, they did have Wayne Bennett as a coach. They did have Adam Reynolds there, but it's pretty much the same Rabbitohs team. You still got your same players. Latrell Mitchell, probably, if you look at it last year, Latrell Mitchell was injured going into the fight. He wasn't there in the final series, but you got a fully fit Latrell Mitchell. You got a Cameron Murray. You got a backline of Alex Johnston there, and that's very dangerous. You just can't write them off, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. You really can't come finals time. And I think if you look at, if you look at their next couple of games, they're all pretty winnable games for the Rabbitohs. You got the big game between them and the Roosters in round 25 at Allianz Stadium there. And then you've got next week for the Rabbitohs, they've got a game against the North Queensland Cowboys at the Core Stadium. Another winnable game as well. So if they win this game and win their next two games, maybe a top 4 spot for them. You just never know. But look, for the Panthers, they've had a mixed couple of weeks with results. Last week, going down to the Melbourne Storm, a really resilient Melbourne Storm team who just defended everything. Penrith threw a lot at them, and they just could not crack them, and they were kept scoreless, which was something you don't often see with the Panthers, is when they're kept scoreless. And they did miss Dylan Edwards last week. They had no James Fisher-Harris, but still, for me, Penrith, no excuses. They just did not do enough to beat that Melbourne Storm side on the day. And I am expecting a lot better from Penrith this week in this game against the Rabbitohs. And look, I think they'll throw a lot more at the Rabbitohs in terms of their defence. So it's a hard game to tip. I'm finding this one very difficult. It can be a flip of a coin, but I'm going to tip the Panthers here 1-12. I'm going to tip the Panthers 1-12. Now, if James Fisher-Harris is playing in this game, and if Dylan Edwards is included, those will be two massive ins for me if those two do get named in the team for this game. So yeah, look, I'll stick with the Panthers here 1-12. If Dylan Edwards and James Fisher-Harris are not in this team, I'll probably still stick with the Panthers here. But Souths are definitely a chance. I would definitely not rule them out, but I reckon it'll be a very tight contest. And look, in terms of an anytime try scorers, look, I'm looking for Isaac Tago to score. I'll go with Coruscant to score, Viliami Kikau, and for the Rabbitohs, I'm going to go with Alex Johnston to score a try. Back him every week. You no doubt about it. You know, you can trust him to score. And if you look at his try scoring form, he should get another try in this game. But, yeah, look, Panthers to win for me. 1-12 in a very close contest. On to Friday night now. Friday the 19th of August. There's 2 games. Now, the first game sees the North Queensland Cowboys taking on the New Zealand Warriors. This is a game which I will be doing a preview live on the YouTube channel tonight with special guest Sam Revell, a North Queensland Cowboys fan and a YouTube content creator like myself. So make sure you tune in for that one. That'll be 9:30 PM New Zealand time, 7:30 PM Australia time for that preview. So make sure you come along and interact in the live chat and give it a watch. But on to the last game to wrap up Friday night footy. It is the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Melbourne Storm. This game is at a Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. And the Brisbane Broncos currently going to this game sitting in 6th spot on the ladder. Melbourne Storm sitting in 4th spot. The game does kick off at 7:55 PM Australia time, 9:55 PM New Zealand time. And the betting prices do have the Brisbane Broncos $2.45. The Melbourne Storm are paying $1.55 favourites. So no surprise with that. Now, the Brisbane Broncos last week, they beat the Newcastle Knights as expected. Now, it was a 28 points to 10 result. Now, look, I didn't watch the game live. I saw the highlights, but what I can see was Brisbane were far from convincing. Yes, they got the win, but look, over the last couple of weeks, I think for me, Brisbane's concern has been their defence, and I think their defence has been a little bit of an issue over the last couple of weeks. They've leaked in quite a few points, and you just don't want to be doing that come final series, come the crucial time of the season. And look, for the Melbourne Storm, if you look at their defensive side of the game, that was probably their best defence that they've had all season against the Penrith Panthers, against a team that's sitting in the minor premiership spot. They went down there to Penrith, and they proved a point. They proved a statement that you can't write them off at this time of the season. And there was a lot of people like myself maybe aren't sure about Melbourne's premiership aspirations when they lost 4 straight games. You know, but since then, Melbourne have put a full stop on that and said, nope, do not write us off. We are still here, and we are still going to contend for this premiership. So they're sitting in 4th on the ladder at the moment, which is full credit to them because they've had a lot of injuries this season. They're probably one of the teams with the most injuries in the NRL this year. But like true Melbourne sides do, as much as it pains me to say it, they come out and they show why they've been so successful over the last couple of years. But I am going to tip the Melbourne Storm here to win, and saying that now I'll go with Melbourne. But I'm only going to go 1-12. I think the Brisbane Broncos can compete with the Melbourne Storm for a bit of the game, but I just expect the Storm to get up and get the result and keep themselves inside that top 4. So Melbourne 1-12 for me. Anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with I'll go with Nick Meaney to score. I'll go with Cameron Munster, and for the Broncos, I'm going to go with Corey Oates, and I'm going to go with Selwyn Cobbo. On to Saturday games now. There's 3 games on the Saturday. The first game, Saturday, 20th of August, sees the Parramatta Eels taking on the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. This is another rivalry game, actually, between these two sides. These two sides really do hate each other. Now, this game has been played at CommBank Stadium, and it does kick off at 3 PM Australian time, 5 PM New Zealand time. Parramatta Eels go into this game sitting in 7th spot on the ladder. The Bulldogs, they sit in 12th spot. The betting prices do have the Parramatta Eels here $1.37, and the Bulldogs are paying $3.10. Now, if you look at last week, Parramatta Eels, boy, they were very disappointing. They just did not turn up with the energy, and you know, that energy was just not there for them. And I did tip them last week against the Rabbitohs, which was no surprise. I got it wrong because one week you tip Parramatta, you know, they lose, and next week you don't tip them, they win. So you just don't know what to expect with this Parramatta Eels team. They're very inconsistent. I said it a lot with Parramatta this season, and this is not me hating on the Parramatta Eels. I'm sure a lot of Parramatta fans will feel what I say here. that their team can 1 week turn up and beat a top team like the Penrith Panthers or beat the Melbourne Storm. The next week they can turn up and lose to a team which they don't expect to lose to. And although the Rabbitohs last week are a much better team, they're not bottom of the ladder, but they were at home and they were kind of expected to show a lot more effort in their performance. And going down 26-0 was not a scoreline that I expected from the Parramatta Eels. I expected them to at least show a lot more fight than what they did in that game. So, in saying that, they're playing the Bulldogs. Now, the Bulldogs, I believe, were a team that did beat Parramatta at the start of the season. They caused a massive upset, and they beat the Parramatta Eels. And you know, the Bulldogs have been a team on the improve over the last couple of months in terms of where they started the season with Trent Barrett there. Their attack's been better, but last week they did go backwards in their performance. They went back to the Bulldogs of old, which is dropping the ball and missing a lot of tackles. And you know, it was just the Bulldogs that we saw at the start of the season last week against the Warriors, which is a bit of a surprise actually. I thought I expected a lot more from the Bulldogs. I was happy as a Warriors fan because they didn't play good, but this was a Bulldogs performance which I did not see coming, actually, getting absolutely towed by us by 42 points. But, look, I want to get to the point now of who I'm tipping in this game. I am going to tip Parramatta Eels here. Parramatta, to me, if they don't win this game, just, for me, forget about it. Forget about it. They have to win this game, and they have to win it well. I'll go Parramatta Eels, 13 plus. They really do have to win this game. They're sitting in 7th. They want to challenge for a 6th place on the ladder, a top 6 or top 5 on the ladder, which, will help them in the finals. But for me, they got to win this game, and they'll win it well. 13 plus over the Bulldogs. And anytime try scorers, I'm going to go Marcus Sevo to score. I'll go Dylan Brown to score. And I'll also go Clint Gutherson. And now there's also talks as well around Mitchell Moses playing this game. I am doing this video while teams start to get names, so I don't know what the story is by Mitchell Moses. But if he is playing this game, it is a huge in for the Parramatta Eels. If he isn't, well, the Bulldogs could run it a little bit more closer than what I'm picking in this video. But I'll go Parramatta Eels to win. I'll go Parramatta by 13 plus. On to the second game now. On the Saturday, sees the Manly Warringah Seagulls taking on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. This game's at 4 Pines Park there, so it's a home game for the Seagulls. Look, the Seagulls come into this game sitting in 10th on the ladder. The Cronulla Sharks sitting in 3rd spot on the ladder. Now, the Manly Seagulls last week, boy, they were very disappointing, were they? Their performance was not what I expected, for a team that was trying to keep their season alive, to try and potentially still make the top 8. And look, that loss last week for me, I put a pen through them and say that was the end of their season and their finals hopes. So they would just want to be getting a win here to bounce back and beat a top team in the Sharks. The Sharks, well, look, got a good win over the Tigers last week. Convincing, 36 points to 12 in Tamworth. And the Sharks are putting their hand up for a run at a 2nd spot on the ladder, potentially overtaking the Cowboys for that home ground advantage for week 1 of the finals. So I am going to tip the Cronulla Sharks here to win. Sorry to the Seagulls fans that are watching this video. I just don't see you winning this game, and I'm going to go with the Sharks. 13 plus, I think it'll be a very convincing win. Now, in terms of the betting prices there, look, like I said, there's Seagulls, $3.50, Sharks, $1.31. So, yeah, I think, look, I'll go with the Sharks here, 13 plus. Anytime try scorers, look, I will go with Ronaldo Mulitalo. I'm going to go with Jesse Ramian, and I'm going to go with Nicholas Hines to score. On to the second game now on the... Oh, sorry, not second game. Third game on Super Saturday. Sorry, guys. It sees the Sydney Roosters taking on the West Tigers. That's at the City Cricket Ground, and it kicks off at 7:35 p.m. Australian time, 9:35 p.m. New Zealand time. The Sydney Roosters come into this game sitting in 8th spot on the ladder, and the West Tigers, well, they are now sitting in 16th spot because the Gold Coast Titans did overtake them after their win on the Sunday last week. Now, the sports bet prices do have the Roosters $1.07 favourites. The West Tigers are paying $9 outsiders. Look, I don't really need to say too much about this game. I'm just going to say Sydney Roosters 13 plus, easy win for them over the Tigers. I don't see the Tigers competing with this Roosters side, who are currently in some great form. On to the Sunday games now. Sunday the 21st of August. It sees the St George Illawarra Dragons taking on the Gold Coast Titans there at Wynn Stadium. The Dragons are paying $1.55 at sports bet. The Gold Coast Titans are paying $2.45. The game kicks off at 2 p.m. Australian time, so that'll be 4 p.m. New Zealand time. I am going to tip here the Dragons here. St George Illawarra Dragons 1-12. And anytime try scorers, I'm going to go with... I'll go with Matthew Feagai. I'm going to go with Zach Lomax. And I'm going to go with Cody Ramsey. As for the Titans, I'll go with Jojo Fafita. And I'll go with Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson to score. On to the final game to wrap up this round of footy. It sees the Newcastle Knights taking on the Canberra Raiders at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. Kicks off at 4:05 p.m. Australian time, 6:05 p.m. New Zealand time. Sportsbet have the Newcastle Knights paying $3.50. The Canberra Raiders are paying $1.31 favourites. And Raiders go into this game sitting in 9th spot on the ladder. And they did keep their season alive after that tight win over the Dragons, 24 points to 22 last week. So, in saying that now, I am going to tip the Canberra Raiders here, and I'm going to go Canberra Raiders here, 13 plus over the Newcastle Knights in this game. And in terms of an anytime try scorer, I'm going to go with Xavier Savage, Nick Kotrick, and I'm going to go with Jack Wyden, and also I'm going to go with Joseph Tatapanen to score. But yeah, guys, that's my tips for the round of the footy. Let me know who you're tipping for this week's games down in the YouTube comment section below. I want to hear who you're picking. And yeah, if you are new to this YouTube channel and you are watching these videos, make sure you do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you click that subscribe button down below. It does help. It shows your support for the content and videos that I produce as well. And also don't forget to like the video, click the thumbs up on the video, and share the video around. And don't forget as well, click the bell so you are notified when I go live on the channel or when I upload on this channel. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.